Let's take you to Kano State, where a high-powered committee constituted by the governor, Abba Yusuf, to investigate the recent killings in Uromi, Edo State, has departed the state for a fact-finding and peace-building mission. The committee, led by the deputy governor of the state, was established in response to national outrage and growing concern over the violent attacks in Uromi, which claimed several lives. The committee includes prominent figures such as the Emir of Rano, Ambassador Mohammed Isa Umar, commissioners for religious affairs, local government and chieftaincy affairs, special duties and women affairs. Now, as part of its assignment, the committee is scheduled to hold consultations with the Edo State governor, heads of security agencies, traditional rulers and civil society organizations during its week-long stay. The Dangote Refinery has informed marketers and its customers of a downward review of its ex-depot loading cost to 865 naira per litre. The new price is a reduction of 15 naira from 880 naira per litre sold by the facility on Wednesday. It comes after the Federal Executive Council directed the full implementation of the suspended naira for crude agreement with local refiners. It says the initiative with local refineries is not a temporary measure, but a key policy directive designed to support sustainable local refining. Well, I'm joined now by economist Ken Ife. Well, the Dangote Refinery price slash is not the kernel of our discussion, but of course it is a very important aspect of it. Yes, but you know, but there are, we'll come to that. The global crude oil prices have tanked, more or less. I mean, Nigeria projected somewhere around $75. $75 per barrel in its 2025.
In the benchmark.
Yes, benchmark.
Fiscal strategy paper.
Absolutely. But it's now hovering around $59.
Actually, so 56, 50.
There you go.
It's going down.
There you
really
go.
Going down.
I mean,
but and of course, we also had a benchmark of just about 2 million barrels a day.
A day.
And we are around about 1.6.
1.6, 1.7.
So when you see cumulative impact of both, will hit the budget. It will hit it very, very hard.
How? In what way?
Well, first of all, don't forget that we still have we securitize more for our crude revenue. So what we have is not that much when you begin to have those drops in price, in dollar prices. So the impact is going to be substantive, because not only, even if you compensate with additional revenue from revenue collections, they are in naira, you still have obligations. Debt service obligations. So you need that dollar.
Dollar denominated.
You do need that dollar. And of course, where we don't have enough, two things happen. We'll rush back to Eurobond market to get some dollar, or two, we'll hemorrhage our foreign reserves. And that adds to, in fact, the mere fact that it is coming down will add to Forex instability, volatility. So the repercussions will go much beyond reducing our reserves, but also possibly, affect more devaluation. It's very, very likely that it could result in that. And of course, things coming in again are prices will spike. Inflation may go up, And when you throw in the global,
trade war with China, there is no way, I guess, that it will not affect Nigeria.
Yeah, we are even the first on the line, because we have an import-dependent economy. So whatever happens to others, irrespective of what happens to us, will still affect us. That's the tragedy of the situation. But the thing is that we still can't see light in the end of that tunnel. We don't know how long it's going to be. Because on one hand, there's a general tendency to increase supply, so that will bring down price. Already that is where Trump is going. But also with the tariff rising, there's uncertainty. And whenever you have uncertainty, people postpone decisions. Now, they will not buy for strategic reserves until prices are rock bottom. When prices go down, people start buying for strategic reserves to hold. Do you understand?
Yes.
Then secondly, the output, when you have tariff war, output decreases. So where are you sending those outputs? So how can you now start buying more crude to produce what? When you are going to be lumbered with lots of stuff.
But I've been listening to some experts, I mean, like yourself, who are saying, look, there's a good side to all of this too. Do you see any good side to it? And how can we...
You mean to the trade war?
Not just the trade war, that Nigeria can actually take advantage of.
No, we're going to get lower price.
Right.
Dangote has helped us now, as he has been doing since Christmas. There will be, this is just on the point of Naira, returning to Naira to crude. Yeah. So it's giving some signal. But when the real price thing comes down, that when you factor that, the fact that actually our price is even coming down, we will have more to celebrate in terms of low price of petrol. So we are optimistic. So that's a benefit, that's a plus.
That's the only plus you see at this point. Okay, now let's talk about the way forward. I mean, what are the viable economic strategies that Nigeria can come up with to actually cushion the impact of this oil revenue shortfall? So
first of all, we have to go and revise the budget and reduce the deficit, because the fiscal deficit is well above the legal limits.
Oh, so you agree with the finance minister who actually says that there might be a need to
it's not the might, we have to. In fact, I was so vehemently opposed to that $75 benchmark on so many interviews. I said, you can't go beyond 70. In fact, you should be looking between 65 and 70. So they will have to revise that, and they should go down to, look, the benchmark is supposed to allow a headroom. Right. That headroom goes to excess crude account. From there, accretion to reserve. You don't put price that is benchmark that is much higher than what you are going to realize in the market, and not to talk of other hostages to that dollar revenue. So that's why it has to be revised, because you're going to bring down within the legal limit of 4% of fiscal deficit to GDP. We have to bring that down. And then that also means that we also have to look at other revenue sources like non-oil revenue. What can we do to boost?
We've been talking about that forever.
I know. But
we're just paying lip service
progress.
To it.
We have actually been having progress.
Aspects?
No, if you look at the performance of the non-oil revenue, it's been going up steadily. But the other thing, the other devil, is that the portfolio investment are not going to be coming in anytime soon, because once there is a prospect of inflation, once there's a prospect of rate rise in US, they start scrambling their money to go back. Right. And then, of course, they will also want to take some of their dollars. You must have enough dollar for maturing securities. So that's another one. You need dollars for maturing security. You need dollars to service debt. And once these signals begin to come, they are less likely to extend their yields, their bonds. They want to take cash out and then go back to safety. And of course, the safety is in dollar, because America will never pay their debt. They'll just print more dollars.
Isn't life unfair? So how can the federal government actually make up for the deficit that could arise from the 2025 budget?
There are many other things. Actually, the reform, that fiscal reform will be helpful, because the fiscal reform is very progressive, and it will actually lead to higher revenue collection, because you notice so many things that they did in that reform that they should not wait to implement that reform. Because
that's where the challenge is.
Yes, it's very, very important, because not only that, out of about 60 tax or something, only 6 are giving them 90% of the thing, and then if you look at the private sector side, the MSMEs increasing from 25 million to 50 or even 100 means you are allowing them to have more disposable income with which they can weather the storm. They can reinvest. They can keep
They can
jobs.
also hire.
Absolutely. Then the one on the household that removes all these VATs on energy, consumption, education, health, all that stuff, is giving disposable income, leaving them with more disposable household so that they can purchase. That means aggregate demand will go up, GDP goes up. MSMEs, aggregate output will go up, GDP goes up. And then at the same time, collection efficiencies. There's a lot of things there on collection efficiencies, which means we'll collect more money. And then I think we should be looking more at Murphy, what it can bring in. And then that means shifting some of the borrowing to asset-based borrowing. So we can get the NNPC to the capital market. I don't know why we are stopping that. It has to go to the capital market. That's the time to go. We need the money.
As it
And
is
then we
now,
need
or should
efficiency.
it, because some are saying NNPC should, it's time to,
No,
you know,
it
break
has
it
to
up.
go to the capital market.
Right.
And they are making that move. We've been saying this over the
Okay.
last 2 years. From the moment we were sworn in the listing, I said, go to the capital market. They have to go so that
Right.
they will behave properly. They can't continue to behave as like a monopoly, or it's a private sector. We now have big boys in the field that we need to get in there so that we
Okay.
can play, you know, to be more efficient.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Ken Ife. He's an economist joining us on Newsnight tonight. It's a continuing conversation. We'll see how all of this pans out.